The Panos Skordi Encounter.
Hi, this is Panos here with Howard, Nancy, Paul, and Andy, and they're all professional actuarial educators. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourselves?
Okay, I guess I'll go first. So my name is Howard Heller. I'm the president of ActuaryExamTutor.com. And we started helping students preparing for the actuarial exams back in 2003.
And I'll go ahead and add in that I'm Nancy Stevenson. I'm the president of ACTEX Learning. And ACTEX is probably a well-known name to most exam takers, but we are a pretty comprehensive program, a company that offers online education, textbooks, study manuals, practice exams, and have a retail website. So happy to be here.
And I'll jump in next. My name is Paul Johnson, and I'm the head instructor for Exam FM for a program we're going to talk about later in the podcast. But I'm actually a health consulting actuary, so I do that. I also have been working on something called Actuarial Toolkit. So I do kind of a variety of things, but Exam FM is kind of my teaching expertise.
Hi, my name is Andy Ngwaba. I'm an assistant professor at Bradley University and the director of the Actuarial Science Business Program. I'm going to be the lead instructor for exam IFM. Thank you.
All right. So it's interesting to hear that, Howard, you work for, or you are the founder and the president of ActuaryExamTutor, and Nancy, you're with ACTEX. So do you guys work together?
Well, I've known Nancy for a number of years. At first, it was really putting our programs on their platform to get more exposure. I actually met Nancy in person, I think back in 2013. She was with Bill Morella. I met her in Manhattan. So, when you meet somebody in person, you get to know them a little better. So we've had discussions over time. And really, I guess last year is when we really started discussing combining our platforms together, because we thought there was like a strong synergy between them. Their materials, obviously are very well known, very well used, and our platform of providing live instruction for students, we thought it was a natural connection, and which we could put them together and have a program that would be very strong for students in preparing for these exams. So I've known Nancy for a long time, but I'd say in the past years when we really started discussing putting our platform.
Exactly, I would say, and Howard has obviously worked with a great team here and historically of instructors that have expertise with live instruction, whether it be one-to-one or in group settings. And our company focuses on self-study primarily, or guided study with video recordings. So, there's obviously not a huge amount of overlap with our skill sets, but we're still servicing the same audience. And having had many discussions and having seen sort of what both of our business pathways were, I think those discussions obviously just continue to happen and grow into what we hope is an exciting new project.
All right, so you mentioned there some of the resources you offer. So if I'm a student and I want to pass the exams and I come to you, what specifically can you offer me? What resources do you have to offer me?
Howard, do you want to start?
Well, with this platform, you want to start, Nancy?
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, with this program, and really what makes it completely distinct from other programs out there is that this is a program that combines materials that students will generally use to do self-study with a live platform, such that the instructor, and with these programs, the instructors are just crucial to bring everything together. So the difference is we're going to combine ACTEX materials with our live platform, such that a student will have the teaching and the coaching and the guidance throughout the entire exam preparation to be put in a, we think, a great position to pass these exams, rather than just really working by, what comes down to working by yourself, and in a lot of ways teaching yourself the material. And as we all know, this is very complicated material. Passing these exams is incredibly competitive. I mean, you're competing against people that are very bright. And I think the instructors, the way we have this program, the instructors are going to be able to utilize the materials within having a live platform that will really be able to bring students knowledge and understand the material and their preparation to a completely different level of proficiency, and just place them in a much stronger position to pass the exams.
Yeah, and I'll jump in on that too. So I'm just one of 5 instructors, but I think there's a huge advantage in this program with the live instruction component compared to a lot of stuff that's out there. There's a lot of self-study materials for videos and, readings and things like that. With this program, like, a big part of it is you have an instructor who's an expert instructor in the topic, in the exam that you're studying, that it's a whole guided course. And so you have access to an instructor with office hours. We're going to have a forum. We have, accountability checks, like that whole kind of a thing, along with all the materials that you would traditionally purchase with any sort of program. So you've got, a full manual, you've got this thing called Goal, which we're going to talk about a little later. You got like all this stuff. And I think it's really exciting because, at least for myself, like, I'm really passionate about teaching this stuff. I have a background in actuarial. And then later in my career, I went back and got my master's in statistics and also taught university courses just to get that experience because I really wanted to teach. So I think that we have a group of people who are really excited and want people to pass these exams. So for myself, I actually think this stuff is fun. I know it's hard. This is challenging material. It really is, but it's fun stuff to go through. And I think when you have someone who's passionate about it and excited about it and actually wants you to pass, you're going to get a big advantage in this program compared to anything else that's out there. I haven't seen anything quite like this. And honestly, accountability is a huge part of it too. I know a lot of actuaries, and so many have told me one of the hardest things for them is when they're studying on their own to remain accountable to themselves. And then they get 2 weeks out and they're like, there's no way I'm passing. So when you're with a group of people who they all have the same goal to pass that exam, and you have an instructor that really wants you to pass, hands down, my opinion, I'm excited about it. So.
Panos, I just want to add,
Right, and thinking back to my school days.
Panos, I was going to say, I know you're a professor at university, and I'm sure you've been, doing it for a while. I think there's a trend in education throughout, not just the actual profession, but in general, going towards, videos, a lot of self-study materials for students to learn. And although there's a place for them, they're useful, I still think that you never want to get away from the total traditional aspect of having an instructor. The right instructor can make such a huge difference in the students' learning. They can make the right instructor can make such a difference. And I do think there is a huge trend throughout education of having students just rely on their own self-learning. And what we're trying to do here is bring, the material, again, bring the materials together that you would generally use for self-study, but again, have the traditional aspect of the instructor who can, what I would say, really bring these materials to life. When you study, you're really having to trust yourself how to properly study. Well, now with this program, you're going to have an instructor who can really show you how you need to study the material. Not just that you have the material, but how do you maximize the use of the material? So it's not just the live lectures that are going to be part of all these programs. It's having an instructor who can really guide you when you're studying on your own, which is obviously a very big part of preparing for these exams, and having an instructor showing you the path that you need to do on your own too, to get in position such that the overall goal for us with this program is that the day you walk into that exam, you know and are incredibly confident that you are going to pass this exam.
I think to add to that, you know, the ACTEX Learning as a company has certainly focused quite a bit on study material. Spent a lot of time working with some experts in the fields, really developing a lot of tools that, as Howard mentioned, are essential to self-study for most people. And, you know, we're proud of what we've accomplished. But there is a level at which self-study, you know, can only respond, you know, to somebody's needs, maybe through an email, maybe, you know, those sorts of things. But you have that one-to-one interaction, the ability to connect directly with your instructor in this case, whether it be live during those lectures, whether it be during, you know, discussion on the forum, office hours, as Paul mentioned. There's a lot of different attributes or elements here where you have direct connection with your instructor, and the material we're teaching, you know, varies in difficulty clearly. And, you know, people's learning styles, their abilities, their knowledge levels, everything is so unique to the person. So, you know, the one-to-one interaction beauty of this is that the instructor has that a way to interact with you directly, but they also have that, you know, live instruction with the group as well. So you're benefiting from other people's questions, but then you can hone in right onto the level of detail maybe that a particular student might need. So to be honest, you know, this program has it all, and it's going to offer whatever each individual student needs for their own custom success story. So, you know, we're pretty fortunate that we have all of the options to put these programs together, all of the tools together, and the right people, and the students, you know, will benefit from all of those elements.
Right. And something that Paul said earlier about, I think this is what you were saying, is that instructors, a good instructor can actually motivate students, and that's right, really important. And I think if you can get the students to trust you that you've got their best interests at heart, because you really do, then it's easier to do that if you're teaching synchronously. Even if it's online, as long as it's synchronously, I think that actually makes a big difference. I've found during the time I've been teaching. Sorry, Howard, were you going to say something there?
Yeah, what I was going to say is that, you know, over the 18 years that we've been helping students with our live platform, we've had a lot of students that came to us that were only using self-study materials to prepare for the exams and could not pass. Okay, of course, there are students out there who could just study on their own and pass. We all know that. And then but there are a lot of students out there that need that extra help that an instructor can provide. And what I was going to say is that we've had a lot of students come to us who were trying to pass these exams just on their own with self-study. And basically were going to give up on the profession because they could not pass. You know, it's very frustrating to take these exams and not pass. You have to put a tremendous amount of work and dedication to it. And when they came to us and they had the instructor work with them, it made such, you know, difference. And when they passed the exams, they realized, hey, I can pass these exams, you know, I can pass. And we, over the 18 years, have had the live platform, but big reason why we wanted to have a relationship with ACTEX is because we've never had the materials to complement the live platform. You know, that's the one thing that's always been missing. Now we have the live platform, which has, you know, had tremendous positive impacts to students, but now we're going to have the materials to complement it. And I just think that combination for many students who cannot just look at, you know, studying on their own and pass the exam, they're going to realize how impactful this program will be for them.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Howard's saying. Like, it's really cool. So what Howard's put together at his company is he has a set of amazing people that are really good with teaching this material. And Nancy has a company that has incredible study materials. And I've been going through, and we're all going to be very well prepared for these courses, because each instructor, not only, I mean, we all have different backgrounds, right? Like I'm a credentialed actuary, so I've gone through this exam process. Andy is a PhD and a head of a program at a university. So like, these are people that really are very knowledgeable. And I think the students are going to find a lot of value in that. But anyway, we've been going through like the ACTEX material. We've all been talking together, planning these programs out. They're going to be very well thought out and very well, very structured in a way such that when you're a student joining the program, you don't have to like schedule out your time. I mean, yes, there's going to be a ton of self-study. There always will be for actuarial exams, but you don't have to think through, oh, which stuff should I study this week? Which stuff should I study this week? It's all kind of set out for you. And I think that's a big advantage to this program, is you have it laid out for you and you have an instructor that's guiding you through it. You're going to have to put in all the work, of course. Like, that is the only way you'll ever pass an exam, but you have people that are there for you the entire way, helping you out. So I think that's a huge advantage to the self-study stuff. And one other quick note I was going to say is, when I went through the exams, I did self-study because there really wasn't a program quite like this. I will say, I was successful with getting through the exams, but even I would have taken a program like this if it were out there, because I think I had so many times where when I was studying, you just feel kind of like on this island on your own. And you're like, is anyone else doing this? Am I insane? Do I you get overwhelmed with the material. And I think that's another big aspect with this, is like kind of that group environment. So, but anyway, Andy, I'm sure you have a ton to say about this with your university experience.
Oh yeah, just to add briefly, so apart from the fact that like we are the instructors of this program, most of us also have worked as actuaries. So we're not just bringing we're going to put the instruction in a way, not just theoretical, but in a way that the students are going to be able to relate with it, and also link it to the kind of work they're doing, because most of us have done this work before, and we've passed these exams too that we're teaching. So yeah, that's just, it's more of like helping students connect the dots, because sometimes you might have a very good knowledge of the exam and still fail the exam, right? Why is that the problem? Because there are some dots that you could not connect. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to help you connect those dots, and yeah.
So I guess I've got a question for Howard here. Sorry, Nancy, did you want to come in on that?
I just quickly, and then we'll revisit this point later, but I just quickly wanted to say too, because I think there's a misnomer that these live instruction courses that are super in-depth and have great study materials and have extremely talented instructors, live instructors, are for students that are struggling always, and students that are not capable of other ways of preparing or so forth. However, that may be the case, but we also want to acknowledge that this course in particular is unique in and of itself in the fact that we've got 3 different entry points. So we're not just catering to the student who needs the hand-holding from beginning to end. And I don't mean hand-holding to be a negative element. I think it's excellent, and it's excellent that we can offer that. But I think that we really need to also identify the fact that this program has been designed specifically so that if there's somebody who has an introduction to it, they can come in at a different point. And then they have a little bit more of an overview and can really get into some prep before the exam. And then there's another stage, the person who's been self-studying or maybe has taken the exam before and comes in and just gets that last the difference between what they're going to pass this time versus last time. So this is, again, and I don't want to harp on this point, but it is not for a specific type of student. This program is a beautiful package of materials and opportunities for any level of experience and any level of student really to get in and learn the material. So there's going to be something for everybody, an option for everybody. So it's definitely worth taking a look at as far as considering what materials or programs you want to look at first preparing for an exam.
You know, it's funny, like just take it from what Nancy just said, you know, there sometimes, you know, like I know from my experience taking exams, sometimes you don't pass, you know, unfortunately. And you're sitting there getting ready for the next sitting, you're like, okay, what should I do? I may not want to take the entire program over again, but at the same time, I still know I really need to improve a decent amount to pass the exam. And that, as Nancy said, that's the beauty of this program. You might have taken, you know, studied previously for the exam sitting, not passed, and you don't have to do the whole program over. You can now actually enter, let's say, in stage 2 of our program, which is really for students who need to improve in probably the more complicated topics that probably prevent you from passing. So you might say, okay, I studied, I didn't pass, I don't want to do an entire program over again, but I can study on my own and then enter this program at stage 2. Or you might say, okay, I was close to passing, but I didn't quite pass, and I still need a little help. You can enter stage 3, which is like a very intense 4-week boot camp for all the programs, such that you would have just an intense 4 weeks of really bringing your problem-solving skills to the maximum level. So for myself, who definitely did not always pass the exams, you now have an opportunity to have a program where you don't have to necessarily start from the beginning. You might want to, you might say, okay, I really need to improve greatly. I'm going to take this entire program from stage 1 because I know I really need to learn this material much better. But you might be that person that's in the middle. So now there's other opportunities to really increase your knowledge and proficiency for the exam, but not having to do an entire program over again, but where you have the instructor, whichever stage you enter, you have the instructor to really help you along to get you in that position to pass.
So Howard, given that what you said, and it looks like you and Nancy are like running everything, and you're choosing the instructors, and you've all mentioned how important the instructors are. What are the criteria you use for choosing instructors for your program?
There were 3 critical criteria to have instructors. Number 1, obviously, they had to be incredibly knowledgeable in material. Okay, and it's not just knowledgeable in, you know, the syllabus material the way a professor might be. Also, you have to know the exam. You know, you have to know the exam. There's a big difference between knowing syllabus material and knowing the exam. So the instructors we have are, you know, you're going to find they're going to be incredibly knowledgeable in the exam besides knowing material. Number 2, which is critical, they have to be good teachers. Just because you're incredibly knowledgeable in the syllabus material does not mean you're a good teacher. It has to be somebody that can communicate the material. And again, this is very high level material. Communicate it to a student in a way that they can really learn from you. That is so critical. And at this level, it's very hard to find individuals who know this material inside out, but also are what I call natural teachers. And that's what each of these people are. Number 3, which is just as important, they have to have the passion to want to help students succeed. That has always been the trademark of everything I have ever done with my company, okay? Is having students understand that we really want them to succeed. These people are very smart. They know if you're fooling them or not. I think anybody that's ever worked with our company knows we really care about you. You know, we really do. We really want you to succeed. It's not just a business. It's about helping you succeed in this profession. Every one of these instructors has a tremendous passion for wanting to help these students really succeed. And that makes a big difference because when you're working with a student, if they're struggling, your attitude isn't, well, you know, what can we do? The attitude is, hey, how can I help this person get back on track where we're going to get them in a position to pass? So those were the 3 major criteria: knowledge, teaching experience and ability, and passion. And all these 5 instructors have them.
Yeah, I think Howard's spot on with that. I will say, I'll just give a little story on the side. Before Howard and Nancy ever even talked to me, I have like several actuary friends that are doing different exams, or they're on different exams, and sometimes I'll get asked different questions about the exams. And I've been known to I'm a video texter, so a lot of times I'll make a video and text the video. And so I have a particular friend who was really struggling, and I made like a whole video on maximum likelihood estimators. And and she was like all excited. She's like, this is exact, like I need someone to help me out with this, and you made this awesome video. And I'm like, yeah, I've been thinking about teaching exam stuff for a while. And then of course, you know, Howard and Nancy approached me about that. And I helped another person create a whole study schedule for like how they might be able to like go through and like pass their exam. So this is stuff that like I've done for fun on the side. But it's something that like we're all excited about and passionate about. So I think to Howard's point, like all three of those things are critical. Like you can't just have one of those items. I mean, someone who's really, really good at passing an exam may not be able to actually get up in front of students and teach. And I say get up in front of students because this is all going to be live synchronously on Zoom. So getting in front of students this kind of a way. To be able to do that. Like you can't just be a teacher, you have to have the exam experience too. And as Andy pointed out, most of us have actuarial experience as well. And like, I think that's going to be super valuable for students. Like I will say, you know, I've been in the profession for about 13 years now. And I kind of know what it's like to work as an actuary, especially on the health side. And like we kind of know where these exams are applicable and not. I mean, our goal is to help you pass the exam, but it's fun to point out those things like, hey, you know, I use this stuff at work. Compounding interest, I could talk about trending and you know, healthcare trends and how I actually use some of this kind of stuff. And I think it's fun to bring out those elements. And also just like, you know, if students have questions about being an actuary, let's say you're not, I know we're going to probably get students who are actuaries and some who aren't. And if they have questions about it, like I'm happy to talk to them. And you know, we know various companies, we know a lot of people in the field. So I think that's another kind of hidden aspect that is kind of built into this program as well. So.
You know,
So,
Panos, can I say one thing before we go on? I just want to say something about, just so I don't forget, about the exams. You know, I majored in actuarial science at New York University a number of years ago now. And when I was graduating school, the field was so different than it is now. When I was graduating, if you were interested in actuarial science, it was very easy to get a job. I mean, if you had a good transcript, very easy to get a job. You got interviews at all best companies. In today's day, and I know because everything I do through this business, this company, I get to talk to a lot of students. I get to talk to a lot of different people, and getting to know you last year. One thing I know over the last number of years is that this field has gotten much tougher to get your foot in the door of. Okay, it's not easy to get your foot in the door, and the one thing you need to do to get in the door is pass these exams. I mean, it's even in today's day and age, it's critical to get an internship. You can't get an internship anymore usually unless you have exams passed. These exams are so critical, and it's just so competitive in exam work. And or you know, maybe you're going to start with peer FM. You have to understand that if you don't pass these exams, the window is closed. It just is. That's the way it is today, you know, for almost everybody. And what I love about what we do is that we really create a platform with this to really help students. It's of course it's help pass the exams, but it's the means to the end of getting internships, of getting jobs. You know what I mean? It's like, of course, it's passing exams, but I want people to understand that as Paul was saying, like talking to people about stuff about the actual profession, it's about people passing the exams, but if you work with us, what you're going to find out is that we really care about your future. It's about you being successful in this profession. It's about you having a chance while you're in school to get a great internship. It's about you having a great chance when you graduate to have companies come to you saying, we want you to work for us, you know? And that's really, I think, the big picture, what we're trying to accomplish here. Of course, it's to help you pass exams. And that's this program, I think, is going to do a tremendous job of helping people pass exams. But what we're all about is helping students be successful in this profession.
All right. So I know you've mentioned some of this in passing, but what type of student do you believe that these programs benefit the most?
I can jump in on that one because I know Howard and Nancy have talked about this a little bit so far, but really this is going to be for students of all levels because we have 3 stages in this program. So you can enter at stage 1. Stage 1 is you have little to no knowledge at all. Like you might be just starting the exam, or maybe you've already taken it and you're like, I want to start from square one. And you enter at stage 1, you will be involved in all 3 stages. That is, there's a whole learning portion of learning the material, and then there's going to be a whole practice portion. Well, let's say that you're like, I don't want to start from square one. I've taken the exam. I know a lot of the material, but there's like some challenging topics I could definitely review. There's some exam strategy I could review. You can actually enter at stage 2. So you're maybe a more experienced exam taker. All the students at stage 1 are still there, but then the stage 2 students can enter in, and that's going to be the more challenging topics for whatever particular exam you're taking. We have this for all 5 exams that we're teaching. They enter in. We're talking about the more challenging topics. We're also talking about some exam strategy in that portion. It's structured slightly differently. So those students will enter there. Then we have stage 3. So everyone that was in stage 1 and stage 2 is also going into stage 3, but anyone else can enter at stage 3. And this is for people that really they know all the material. They just want help with practicing to really intensively get ready for the exam. They've maybe taken it. Maybe they haven't taken, maybe they've just studied all the material. We're going to be going heavy to practice problems. We're going to be working through exam problems together, showing different approaches, exam strategy, which kind of starts in stage 2 and continues on into stage 3. We really call it like a boot camp because it's intensive. It's intensive prep. Is the learning component, and there's always the getting exam ready component. And I think that's where then just taking some course, because a course might be geared at learning the material, which we have that exam, because just because
the general level, this is that an instructor can provide. They want to be part of a process of the instructor being taken from point 0 to the finish line, which is being positioned to pass. It's the student who wants to have the teaching of the instructor. They want to have an expert to show them things that maybe they can't get from just studying on their own. They want to have that coaching. They want to have the guidance. They also might really like the fact that they're going to be with a group of students that are all sharing the common goal of trying to pass this exam. So you're not just studying for this exam on your own. You're part of almost like a team, all working together. Of course, in the end, they're all competing against each other, but you're part of a team working together over the number of weeks of the program to all be in position to pass. So that's the person that wants to have that instruction, coaching, guidance that you can get from an expert instructor, and also have the opportunity to have other students with you to learn from too, and also for moral support throughout the process of preparing. That you have the community forum, such that you're not just alone studying there in your own little room, You have people that are really working with you, supporting you. Again, not just the instructor, but the fellow students too, where we're all working together for one goal, to pass this exam.
Yeah, honestly, I just think it's going to be more fun. Like, I think it'll be way more fun doing it with a group. Like, that's just the reality of it. Studying on your own is not that fun. And I think being with a group it's like, we're going to have a forum. We're going to have office hours. We can talk. You can get a personal connection, joke around. Like that, when you're stressed out, to me, that's invaluable.
Excuse me, just to add, I know Paul talked about stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So I'm just going to add stage 3. So for stage 3, it's not just going to be about solving problems. We're also going to put in exam taking strategies. What do I mean by that? You might have knowledge of something, but you want to know the best, the fastest way to solve those things. For example, my experience taking exam STAM, you don't want to be that guy trying to integrate the beta function in the on the exam, right? So you want to know the shortcut to like go in and solve those problems without spending 10, 15 minutes on a question. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
And actually, I can add a piece to this too, because I think the key elements here that we coming into this program, designing this program, understand is, we have historically had the student that's a self-study student, buys a study manual, and is working through that, pretty progressively, page by page by page. The student that, sort of skips through maybe and gets to the end, does more practice problems. But we're seeing more and more, students who are not looking for traditional study materials, or having trouble deciding, do I do it the traditional way, or do I study with some book material and then go straight into heavy on practice exams and working through practice problems and sample exams and so forth. And you're seeing people struggling with, how do I do this? How do I decide how to study? And we essentially have said, don't decide how to, what to buy. Know what to buy, and then we'll show you how to study. So, this program really encompasses every element of self-study material. You've got the best study manual on the market, especially when we're speaking of things like, ACTEX IFM. I mean, these are proven study materials by, in and of themselves, proven, instructors and proven authors. So you start with a basis, limit that's excellent, and we're elevating this with all the other options here that ActuaryExamTutor is bringing to the table, which is massive. And on top of that, you've got a practice exam program where you're working with these practice manuals and materials and simulated exams that are even to the extent that they are guided again, or they're curated, I guess is a better word, by these instructors, because instead of blindly going in and trying to figure out what problems to study or what practice exams to do, we're going to have an option here for these instructors to build assignments and programs in this study program that we call GOAL, that helps them elevate, again, the content that they're teaching. So virtual flashcards, GOAL practice problems, ACTEX study manual, the forums, you've got even a calculus review if you need to back up and get a little bit more information. You're going to have video instruction if you absolutely need it. But that in and of itself, really the live instruction is going to be what it brings all of these pieces together, and the student can actually morph that material into knowledge. It doesn't just stick with them. It becomes knowledge that they can then, pass on and take these tests and pass. So it's a really substantial program.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add to what Nancy's saying right now, it really is a substantial program. And I could see if someone's watching right now, and if you're a little worried about, well, this is synchronous, it's going to be at a certain time. It is. We've kind of set this program up, and we've tried to pick times that would work well with a lot of people. However, we do realize that anyone from the world can join these programs, and we're all in different time zones. So if you're slightly worried about time, and you can't, like, maybe there's some days where you just can't quite make it, we will be recording these things so you can still access the videos while you're taking the course. I mean, obviously there's the live component's fantastic because you can ask questions live and all of that. But if there's days when you miss class and you can't make it, you can still watch the video. You can still jump on the office hours. There's still all these components that are there. So I just wanted to point that out.
Mm-hmm. And you have the materials that live longer than the course itself. You know, you've got a 6-month program of course materials plus this, 16, 17-week course. So, it isn't limited to just this, week instruction. You've got intensive study during that period of time, and then you've got study materials in and of itself outside of it. So it's pretty much everything.
That's a good point, because it is, they'll have 6 months for the material. So we're gearing the courses towards particular sittings. But let's just say that you're like, well, I don't quite want to take this sitting. You could still take the course and still have the materials and, take maybe the next sitting or something like that. Obviously, we're gearing it towards particular sittings, but it's not like we require that you take it on that exam sitting.
And this is brand new. So our hope and expectation is, with the success of it, that we are actually speaking to more and more sittings as we move forward. This is about seeing the need and having the students understand how the program benefits them. And then with 6 sittings a year, it's a lot to ask for. But I think, again, with the staged program, people can step in right when they need it for whatever sitting they're particularly interested in taking.
So other than the live instruction, the live synchronous instruction that it seems to be a large part of this of the courses that you guys are running, the instructors also guide students for their self-study. And so can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, while you're answer that one.
Yeah, so I was going to say, in terms of self-study, this is actually a kind of a critical component, because we've been talking about the live instruction. We've been talking about how we're all going to guide you through all this, which is true. But once again, as everyone knows, you have to study on your own as well. That's the only way you're going to pass these, is by practicing on your own. And so the question that Panos is asking us is, how are we going to guide you through your self-study? And the reality is, we have a lot of tools for doing that. And I would say, number one is accountability checks. And with my course in particular, and I think with all of them, we plan to check in with students. And, if you may be a student who doesn't want that as much, and that's okay. But you might like that a little bit, and we'll check in just to kind of see where you're at and where your progress is. And I think that's going to kind of help you remain on course. Secondly, we'll have office hours. So let's say that you're really struggling on a certain topic, and you can come into the office hours. I will be there live, and you can ask your questions. We can go through some, example problems, maybe some of the homeworks. We're actually going to be having homeworks that we assign so you can practice. Maybe you're struggling with some of that, or maybe a quiz you're taking through the online goal component, and you're really struggling on how to solve some of those. You can come to the office hours, and I will be right there, excited to help you out with those things. So that's another tool for your self-study where you can get guidance and help. I will also say another really good one, 2 other things. There's going to be an online forum. So if you have questions for me, or maybe you want to talk to your fellow students, you don't have to talk to just me. We'll have an online forum where, in your self-study, you can be any time of the day when you're studying, you can go jump on that forum. And then when other people see it, they'll jump on as well to be able to answer questions there. Finally, I will also be accessible over email. So if you have questions over email in your self-study, you can email me, and I'll be happy to help that way. So we have so many ways where, when you're going through stuff on your own and you start feeling like you're on that island again, you can get help with your self-study.
And I will say, actually, I think, an element that I don't want to discount, but it's almost, it melts into the background also, is that, a lot of times when you purchase self-study material and then you get a live course, you're dealing with, 2 parts that are not cooperative. This is a cooperative element. So what we're talking about is, we've got a study manual, you've got goal practice problems, you've got the live instruction, the discussion forum, all these components. You don't have to keep them organized. We do that for you. You're going to have a one-stop to go to. You're going to be able to log in. You're going to have access to all of the Zoom, sessions. You're going to, links to that. You're going to have all of your study materials in one place. The forum will be there. You can even create your own study groups within this classroom if you wish to. So it's not about bouncing around and needing to, try to figure out where to access everything. We've really tried very hard and working together to make sure that the student is spending time preparing and isn't spending time trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing. So I think it's a pretty critical nature, of this, working together with ActuaryExamTutor and ACTEX together, is that, we've realized the importance also of streamlining this process for the student and acknowledging that, sometimes you just need to have it in one spot and easy to find and easy to access.
We're basically creating the path and, follow the instructor through the process. And it's going to bring you to the finish line again, which is being in position to pass. I mean, that's really what we're doing with this program. We're creating a path. He's leading you through this path with what you need to do to prepare to pass, with all of the elements you need, all the materials from ACTEX, the live instruction, everything that you can think of that you could possibly want along this road. Just, we want you to follow the process and the program that the instructors are laying out for you. And we strongly believe if you follow it, and of course you have to study a lot on your own and put in the hard work, but if you follow the path of the program, we feel you're going to be in a tremendous position to pass the exam.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, go ahead, Panos.
Well, it looks like that your instructors are going to be available for students. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, students might be wondering when they're watching this about, the live instruction and all that sounds good, but what about my own practice problems? I want a good database of practice problems. And that, Nancy and Howard have already alluded to this, but when you purchase this program, you're not just getting access to just the live program, you're getting everything. So there's a program called Goal, which I'll let Nancy speak to, but it's got a huge database of practice problems. You can set up quizzes, exams, you can set up assignments. You can actually simulate an exam on there, like you're taking an exam. So there's so many components to this program that you're getting that aside from just the live instruction. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, Nancy, can you explain Goal? The Goal is a very important part of the program. So can you explain so students really understand how much they're getting, the power of Goal for the student preparing for these exams?
Absolutely, I'm happy to. I think that people are obviously familiar with study manuals and flashcards and all of the traditional study tools. I think the transition to more of an online learning element over the course of the past 5 to 10 years have really brought about the need for a learning tool that can give students more of a computer-based testing experience, but also gives them access to far more information and data than maybe they have time or the energy or even the resources to pull together. So we have at ACTEX Learning worked with a significant number of university professors, actuaries, and instructors for years to build an exceptionally strong and very masterfully blended database of practice questions. And there's plenty of them, if not most of them, in fact, are original problems, but there are, old SOA problems because there's valuable information in that. But you're not just repurchasing content you can get elsewhere. This is unique information, and the database is developed into sort of a beginner level, all the way, into advanced mastery level. So there's, different levels of difficulty as well. So it's a program that works with your level of difficulty, helps you accelerate the way in which you're going to be learning the material, can improve your progress. And in the case of these particular instructors, it's got an academic element to it that allows them to curate assignments, quizzes, and have sample exams to use so that students can really be working on the material as it's being taught. So you're not, jumping around and trying to, just kind of get this experience practicing exams. You're actually working through the problems live in the time frame within which they're instructed. So if you do have a question or a problem, you can actually work with the instructor and say, why am I not getting the right solution? This isn't making sense to me? There are elements to goal as well that provide, items in the bottom, little hints. It gives you where to get started if you're struggling with a problem. I don't even know where to begin with this issue. Common errors that students might be making within goal, to kind of give them a little help and tip. And so there's also sort of bonus content, or I should say, it's not really bonus so much as it is the differentiating factors that goal offers that might not be available in other programs or practice exams, especially in static form in a study manual. But the element of having this program available to you and interactive with the instructor is not something that I think you see elsewhere in many instances, and it's something that you're seeing a lot more presence in university classrooms. And you're seeing a lot of instructors take note of the value that it's offering to their students and simulating their experiences. But we'll have that element of it, and then we'll also offer them, because a self-study element is just as important, they will have an extended access to goal that will give them this self-study, and that gives them a score option. So they will then have the ability to sort of verify, where do you sort of sit in the general sense of your experience level, how you're feeling towards passing the exam. So again, we've got a really great network of instructors that extends to our live instruction here, to our goal database. We've got the ability to review your questions and problems and access self-study as well. So it's a very robust practice problem database that has very advanced tools that are available to the students and to these professors, instructors to work with in the program. So it is it's a very, very helpful tool, and I think it's going to play a big part in this instruction.
So what is your overall objective with this venture?
Pass. It really does come down to that. I think, we've spent many, many, many months and years, Howard and I even talking about what do the students not have? What we can't offer, right, is that absolute guarantee, but we can probably set up every opportunity for a student to be successful. And, when you identify, these different elements that students have brought together in terms of, one student writes their own notes, one student borrows that student notes. I think you have to accept that everybody has a different learning style, and how do you approach giving each individual student the needs that they are going to have to need for their passing. And so the bottom line here is customizing individual approaches. The instructors are able to answer individual questions. Our overall goal is to bring together a community of students who are interested in passing, understand the best of the best, have come together to develop a program, and are interested in combining self-study with a live instruction element. And we're all invested in this just as much as the students. And I think we're going to see a new type of studying happen as a result.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with Nancy. I was just going to say our overall goal is to help students pass in the most enjoyable and helpful way possible. And so that's really why we brought together all these pieces. So I would say that is kind of the #1 objective.
I was going to say to me, the overall objective is that students have a program that they can trust, that if they join it and they dedicate themselves to what's needed within the program, that it's going to lead them to really having a great chance to pass the exam. Again, I'm not going to knock people who just self-study. If you can pass that way, then that's great. But from my own experience taking exams, my own experience of being in this for a very long time, running this company for 18 years, I know that I don't use the word many students have a hard time passing exams just solely using self-study materials. And our overall objective is that students can look at this program and trust us that if you join it and you do the work that we ask you to do, And there's going to be a lot of work. I mean, you can't pass otherwise, but if you listen to the instructor, follow the plan, follow the process, I think you're going to have just a great chance of passing exams. Nobody wants to take exams over and over again, especially in the beginning. A lot of times you'll say, the field's not for me, and maybe it was. Maybe you just were not studying the way you need to pass these exams. These exams are very different than college exams or exams you've ever taken before in your life. So before you get disheartened, before you say, I just can't do it, we want to have a program out there that offers you every resource needed to pass. And of course, our end goal is to help you pass these exams.
So what we'll do is we're going to include links in the description if students are interested and they want to sign up. But can you tell us how do students register? We're going to include something in the description, but can you also tell us?
Nancy, can you include that? Because you're the most familiar with your platform.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So if you go onto the ACTEX Learning website, which is www.actexmadriver.com, all one word, you'll be able to go into the exam in which you're participating, and we're offering the program for P, FM, IFM, LTAM, and STAM for this upcoming 6 months or so. So we are, if you go into the individual exam under study programs or, seminars,
Yeah,
you'll
actually,
see
I have
that content.
I was going to say, click on exam,
Yeah.
then click on SOA exams,
Right.
and then choose your exam of choice. So you'll see like FM, IFM, all the choices on there, and then click on live seminars.
Right.
So that's the exact, I wrote it down right beforehand. So
That's a professor for you. The other option,
Yeah.
if you really want to make it simple, is going to the search bar at the top and write ActuaryExamTutor, ACTEX, and you'll see pretty much those 5 courses come up in the options in there. So.
And we'll also, I mean, we'll have quick links to them too. Howard's website is going to have very quick links to each individual one, which I'm sure
Right.
Howard could provide for this YouTube video, so someone could just quickly link to them.
Correct.
Right,
Our
we'll
website
do
now
that
has
for you.
Right. Our ActuaryExamTutor.com has all 5 programs on the website now. So if you went to it and you click the banner for that exam, it will take you to the, to get a full description on the programs and to register for the programs.
All right. Well, it's a new venture, and I wish you guys a tremendous amount of success. You want to help students, and students want to pass exams. So hopefully it will all come together for you. It's very exciting. I'd like to thank you again, and it's just been invaluable information. This is your host, Panos Skordi, on the Panos Skordi Encounter. Take care wherever you are.
Thanks, Panos.
Thank you.